It's podcast day. It's podcast day. I have waited for this moment for a while, and I've been planning it for a while because I love having you here at the heyBrownBerry podcast. Welcome. Welcome in. True confessions right off the bat. This is my second time recording this intro because the first time I hit the wrong button and recorded it all as a time lapse, which is essentially hyperspeed. So here we go again. I'm Mars. I'm known as heyBrownBerry here on YouTube, on Instagram, on Ravelry, and on Etsy. Thank you for joining me. This is my making podcast where I share my creative adventures with you. It's one of my favorite things to do, so I'm glad you're here. I'm actually sitting in front of my spinning wheel, which you can't see. I am working on a spinning project that I will share with you. But today's episode is primarily about a place that I was fortunate enough to visit as a teacher. I went to Wing and a Prayer Farm in Shaftesbury, Vermont recently. I have to tell you, it has been literally a dream to go to this farm and meet the farmer and shepherdess Tammy White and her family. Her daughter Char was there, and all of her farm helpers and friends. And I finally got that opportunity by way of the New England Fiber Arts Summit. It took place just a couple of weeks ago, toward the end of August, and Tammy asked if I would come to the farm and teach a class for the retreat attendees. Couldn't say no. I have been friends with Tammy online for several years. In fact, I refer to her as my no-blood cousin because I feel such a connection to her, and I feel so fortunate that the internet is what brought us together and then showed us all these amazing things we have in common. Tammy is a mama. She has homeschooled. She raises fiber animals and provides beautiful yarns and soap and honey and pies and just wonderful, amazing things from this oasis that is Wing and a Prayer Farm. As some of you know who've been here before with me and have watched other episodes of the podcast, I love taking you on virtual visits, and that's primarily what this episode will be, a virtual visit to Wing and a Prayer Farm. You'll see some of the other teachers who were there, some of the guests and attendees, and you'll even get a look at the Makers Market where people from around the surrounding area and towns, and even from some faraway places, came to the farm to enjoy some of the locally made goodies and to visit with Tammy and her animals. So I know you're going to enjoy that. I'll pop in here and there to share a bit with you about what I've been doing. So we'll get started. Enjoy. Here she comes.
Hi, Peggy.
Okay, we'll give her her stuff.
You are beautiful.
Honey, I've got your stuff. I'm sorry you had to wait.
What do you think, Hannah?
Big. I have never met a pig. This is
Isn't
fantastic.
she beautiful? And she likes flower cuttings
Beautiful.
too.
She's my favorite character on Instagram.
She should. Look at, she's so worthy. Oh, you're a good pig.
Can I pet her?
Oh, sure, she loves it. Oh, she loves her food too.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Mama's right on time.
Yeah,
That's a
that was
big
good timing.
pig.
We can watch her.
it's fun, and I want to keep it just so I can be like, yeah, that was my first attempt.
You'll never do that again. You'll never make that mistake again.
It was quite an experience getting to meet so many people the night before the retreat started. I think that was one of the best ways to get everybody comfortable and sort of into a very relaxed mood. And especially for me, the class that I taught was toe-up sock knitting, knit to fit. And yeah, I'm gaining experience in this whole fiber industry thing by way of opportunities like this. So finding out that I could really fellowship with my students the night before I taught the class was a huge bonus. When we met that first night, I thought it was a beautiful way to get to know each other by sitting down at the welcome reception put on by Taproot magazine and doing some block printing, something I had never done before. There were supplies put out for all of us to use freely, including fabric, different colored paints and rollers, and blocks that had already been carved with beautiful shapes like these, which is what I used right away, and these. And then there were actually some blank molds that we could use to carve our own blocks. I actually left my trial block, a custom design one on the farm, just an excuse for me to go back. But I really enjoyed that. This is a canvas material, and I had actually laid this cotton on top of it when I was printing, so it got a bit of a shadow print. And both of these would make great additions to a project bag or even a really cool wall hanging. So I enjoyed that. And just sitting around the tables, working on or even observing each other was a great way to get acquainted. But I also want to share with you some of the making that I've been doing outside of traveling to lovely places. I have been knitting, and you'll see I have on my MS Slouch hat. This is a hat pattern by WoollyWormhead. I am a patron of WoollyWormhead. On Patreon, I support her and her creative endeavors in designing. And as part of that, we get amazing bonuses and pattern previews and other really lovely lovely things to enjoy as patrons. And I had to knit this hat as soon as I saw it. I actually made it out of my first spindle spun, hand spun yarn. It's some mill ends from Spin Cycle Yarns that I was gifted. And I thought a all over texture pattern like this hat is a really good way to showcase the beautiful colors in this yarn.
Char isn't completely overwhelmed. She's in the last stall on the left-hand side. You can choose which kind of cocktail you'd like, or non-alcoholic cocktail. Yeah, it's worthwhile.
Dinner time. Hi. How's everybody doing? Yum, 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 yum.
So I feel a little badly not to share with every single person that's going to be together here right now, but I think I better go ahead. And so I want to say thank you so much to all of you for coming from so far and so near, and for having faith in that this is a worthy event of your time, your resources, and I just can't get over how magical and wonderful it feels to share the farm with you in this way, that you will take time out of your lives, which I know is not easy, and get in the car or the train or the plane or whatever and come and spend several days in community with people that you don't know at all, and to trust that it's going to be a good thing. Because that's how, I just have to say, that's how I do things. I just trust that it's going to be a good thing, and I don't imagine that it won't, that we won't come together and have a wonderful time. Happy birthday to you! He raises like working dogs.
Oh.
So, yeah. So anyway,
right.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And I have a pole Dorset. Melody and Miriam are Dorsets. Oh, sorry, you didn't ask for all that. I'm very excited.
Because I thought, what can I get
That's
them?
anytime, 365 days a year, I will take a dish towel with sheep on it. Okay. Oh, kitty green. Hungry? Good morning. Hi. Hello. How are you? You guys are so friendly. Do you have snacks, lady?
When we met that first night, honey, I'm recording. I'm not talking to you.
Here. Okay, they'll be back.
All right, this is,
Okay, so Mark, what I want to tell you is I believe all our ducks are in a row.
Oh, that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Tammy was right. It's nice and cool in here.
Very comfortable.
Anyone in here, don't stop what you're doing. Anyone in here a fan of the heel flap and gusset?
oh, heel flap, I like to do that.
So almost all of my socks are knit toe up with a heel flap and gusset.
Yeah, that's my
Oh,
favorite.
yeah, that's what I do, yeah.
The techniques that you're learning today, in my opinion, get you through the most challenging part of the sock knitting. You can do this and insert a short row heel. You can insert a heel flap and gusset. You can do an afterthought heel. So as you can probably tell, I like to do things according to the outcome that I want. And that design was started because I think of my knitting as a journey. But I always have the option to create what I want. So the way this sock pattern works is that it has some cables along the sides, which are the pathways, and it's got some pebbles in the middle, which in the pattern right now is garter stitch. But I give you a lot of pro tips in the pattern about how to change any and all of that. Instead of garter, you could do seed. Instead of seed, you could do stockinette. It gives you some idea as to how to create that path for yourself.
Where's the fun?
It really makes me feel sad, so I like colour. So most of what I do, apart from the lady here, have come from African designs. For instance, the bird. So I'm going to pass it around. You will notice that the samples don't have the backs woven in. So I thought we could play with that as well, because people hate the weaving in. But some of the designs actually, the strands actually make nice designs, so it could make it a feature. All right, something out of the sessions. And anything else? Any fears or hopes that you have for this session? I'm not promising to fulfill all your hopes, just to let you know. I can't do.
One of the great things about traveling or being anywhere with fiber friends is that when you bring your knitting, if you happen to finish a project, you almost always have a willing pair of hands to take finished object pictures for you. I finished this sweater while I was on the farm. It's a sweater called Luck. I'll put the information for it in the show notes down below. It's a cardigan, and as with most of my makes, it instantly became a favorite. I told my roommate, Anne, that I wanted her to be my accountability buddy to keep me on task to finish it while I was at the retreat, and she did. She kept me going, and actually she's the one who took these beautiful finished object photos that I'll insert here.
Like,
Get Tammy in the pie.
look, it's still bubbling.
And what flavor is this?
These are blueberries, wild blueberry yonder. The blueberries came from Maine with the Taproot magazine contingency.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, we
That's
get to
gonna be good.
Just start random. Oh, okay. Yeah, it would always be for like special occasions. She's kind of a health nut though, and I think that's a big part of it. Yeah. Is she just doesn't do.
Of course, something I know we all enjoyed while we were on the farm was just the time to be together and how much we felt pampered. So if you ever have the ability, I think I've said this many times, if you ever have the ability to get together with friends and to just be in community, I highly recommend it. There were lots of opportunities to sit and chat and make together, and there were even opportunities for us as teachers to sit in on one another's classes and just observe and really take in the different styles and approaches, which I found extremely enriching. I have many makes still to share, and as I go here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of those in a separate episode, just talking about things that I finished over the summer. I'm going to leave you with final scenes from the farm and go back to spinning. I'm working on the second bobbin of this beautiful braid of Merino. I will just show you some tidbits of the spinning here. I'm working on just the final portions of this braid. I actually dyed this myself. It's about 118 grams of a non-superwash merino. And back in May, I wanted to play around with dyeing fiber. It is quite a different process from yarn dyeing, and it takes a good amount of care so that you don't get felted fibers. And I'm really pleased with the way this came out. So once this is dyed up and I can ply it with what is already on my spinning wheel, my plan is to two-ply it and make a pair of socks out of it. And I'll definitely share that with you when it's done. Friends, I love our time together. I'm so glad that you spent some time here with me in my little corner of the internet. In order to keep updated on when I post the next episode talking more about my making journey, feel free to subscribe. Just hit that red subscribe button below. If you enjoyed this visit to the farm, hit that thumbs up like button. I'm so pleased that I could finally reconnect with you. Comment down below anything you'd like to share with me, especially things that you've been making over the summer or some places you've been that you'd like to recommend. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you again next time. Bye. This is the, oh, thank you.
Okay, Eve is all about the snagging. This is little Evie. Whee! There
That
goes
was
Paige.
impressive.
Here she comes. Oh, you okay? Got a little bit in your throat?
Hey.
Yeah, underneath, because they're a
Underneath,
prey
okay.
animal, so they get nervous when you approach from above.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, she's
They're
cry-
hungry. I'm interrupting
Oh
dinner.
yeah. Oh no, they'll be done in a flash. And there's Pansy. She's an old lady. And then this is Winn-Dixie, this little black one.
Okay.
She loves being pet too if she wasn't so hungry. Paige is the oldest lamb.
Okay.
These are all lambs. They were born in April. Oh my gosh, Paige, what do you have to do to get a bite to eat again? Huh? Almeida's an old granny. Oh, hi there, Evie.
She's so much
Look,
bigger
she
up
wags
close.
her tail.
That tail.
I know it. Yeah, she is. And then that's Parsley. Hi, Pars. You better go over there.
Oh,
Ruba.
that's beautiful brown.
Do you guys realize that Ruba's got an entire trough to herself?
She is not worried about you all at all.
Hi, back for a snuggle.
Hey.
Oh my gosh. So Charlotte's been shearing them, and she sheared a few of them.
Oh, hi.
Little Winona here is. Oh my gosh. Oh, see?
There,
Oh,
figured it
Granny
out.
Ruba.
Figured it out.
But Ruba's gonna, whoa.
Yeah, they can get up
wanna-
high. They
Oh,
got
sure.
vertical.
Now, over here are the Valley Black-Nosed
Oh, yeah.
babies, and that's Dilly with the black horns, and then to the right is Jolene, and they're all about, their own space.
Yeah, I see that.
Watching them eat, they have different levels of energy too. Some of them are so
Oh,
calm,
for sure.
and some of them are like,
Yes, like Eve's mother.
I will get in.
And her mother
Yeah.
won't let me go near her.
If she's really?
No, her mother is Penelope, and she's terrified of people.
Hello.
And then Eve loves on all the people.
Oh, hi Eve.
Yeah, it's really interesting. They all are so unique.
This is my first time petting a sheep.
Oh my gosh, where's my phone? I'm taking this
This is
picture.
my first time.
Oh my
and you
gosh.
are sweet. Hello.
Isn't she?
Hello.
See me?
Hi, Nikki.
I haven't visited with you for a few days. Oh, here's Winona.
I'm getting sheep booty.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Sheep booty, the best booty.
I love it.
Yeah, so Winona is what you call a morit. They call that color morit in Shetland terminology. Oh, my buttons, honey.
Oh, no,
Whoopsie.
sorry about that. Sorry
Whoop.
about that.
She got a little brave and came in, and then she. Well, you know what though? Today at the Elton Farm, there were groups and groups of people out here, and they got chased
yes.
around.
Yes.
Are you gonna let Mars
They
feel
will
your soft? No, you're gonna scoop.
They will not be out snuggled.
Yeah, I know it. So anyway, guys,
I love it.
I
Thank
gotta
you,
go feed
Tammy.
the boys.
This is amazing.
yeah, you're welcome. You need to have some dinner too.
I'm gonna go
Oh,
have
I'm
some
gonna
dinner,
use
and
you
now I
to
have
stand
some
up on.
excellent memories of sheep cuddles.
I know.
Yeah, the other thing was like I wasn't sure about. Yeah, I was trying to get that to rise up.
Wait, how did you just
She just turned the wheel and
Oh, okay. All wine and one part of the right, exactly.
you should have a hook of some kind. You might need to get one.
Okay.
Which is it's basically just a paper hook goes through the hole.
Yay! Thank you. electric mesh fence is not on. So you can simply push it down and step over, and like this big of a step, because otherwise you're gonna get tangled and go flying, and I do that once a day. So you're gonna do like a big push it down and go, like I'm doing this so that you won't fly out. And then you're gonna do that.
Yeah, so I just do it on the gentle cycle and then shoot the hot water and it fluffs it out.
Colors are you considering?
Are you considering that one?
Yeah. Oh, that green is cool. It's like a chartreusey green.
And then with that one.
Oh, yes. Good contrast.
But then I like this too.
Uh-huh. Together.
No.
Oh, so you just like it. I got you.
like it.
I got you. It's beautiful.
This one, I don't know, somebody was very careful about the way that they like gathered it all up, right? But I loved that look. It's so